My next guest is going to be fighting Mallory Martin this Saturday at UFC Fight Night on August 29th. It is Hannah Cifers back here on the program. Hannah, how's it going?
Doing pretty good, sir.
That's good to hear. Thanks so much for taking the time. Like I said, I know you're fighting on Saturday. I know things are going to get very busy over the next couple of days for you. But how did camp go for you overall? It must have been a lot nicer getting some notice for this fight instead of your last fight, which was really short notice.
Yes, it was nice to have like a full training camp before fight after getting such short notice on the last one.
Yeah, and I know this is a replacement fight as well, from what Mallory was telling me, so that's interesting as far as that goes. But this is going to be your fourth fight this year. If I'm not mistaken, you haven't had that many fights since 2017. Do you like fighting this frequently, or were you hoping to have a bit more space in between your fights?
I've enjoyed getting to fight this frequently. As long as I feel good and like the camp training goes well and no injuries, I like to stay busy.
Okay. And is it safe to say this was the right amount of time, to prepare for Mallory Martin?
I think so. I feel good with the preparation we've done for this fight.
Very cool. And what did you learn the most? I mean, you've had some really tough fights, the last three especially, Angela Hill, Mackenzie Dern, Agapova, who, we saw was a big betting favorite last week. What have you learned the most from your last couple of fights?
I don't like one specific thing I could pick.
Right. Yeah. No, I know losses sort of suck to talk about, but is there anything like you felt like you could have done differently, or anything that you've, maybe worked on in training that you're looking to show in this fight? Anything like that?
I've definitely been trying to work my ground game and stuff.
Right.
Down there, but I just like to work on everything because I feel like I have a long way to improve on just every aspect. Yeah,
it's not one specific thing. You're always evolving as a martial artist, so you're always looking to sharpen those tools, as they say. So that makes a lot of sense. We talked about this last time with COVID-19, obviously impacting everyone. But have things opened up a little bit more where you're at, especially with the farm and everything that you're doing outside the cage? Has that been a little bit better, or are things still pretty restrictive?
Most everything back around where we live is pretty much back open. It has like restrictions and stuff, like I'm assuming most places do, but it's back open, so it's a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's good. And in terms of training, has that opened a little bit more? Or some of the gyms, more accessible than before?
Yes, sir. It's been a lot easier now.
Yeah, and that must give you a bit more confidence going into this fight, knowing that you're getting a good training camp as opposed to before. I know things were a little bit more difficult, right?
Yes, sir. It's been a lot easier getting people to work with and stuff too.
Great to hear. What do you know about Mallory Martin? How do you feel like you match up against her here?
I think it'll be an interesting fight. I've seen a couple of her fights. I know we've had a few opponents in common, so it can be interesting.
Yeah, you both fought Macy Barber. You fought her in the UFC. Mallory fought her on the regional scene, so that's certainly an interesting tidbit. It must be nice, though, fighting someone that's more your size. I mean, Agapova was huge in that last fight. I don't know if that was a difficult thing to deal with in the matchup.
Maybe a little bit. I probably won't look to go up in weight class again.
Right. Yeah. No, it's tough. But props to you. I mean, a lot of women wouldn't have taken that fight, and you took it on short notice. So you got to give yourself credit for that, because I'm sure there's other fighters who wouldn't have taken that, and you obviously, did that in the matchup. You talked about training camp a little bit there. Who have you got to work with for this camp, and how did camp go overall?
Camp's been good. I've been able to get a lot more like local girls to come in and work with me, and I really appreciate all their help. I think I've had a really good camp.
Good. Okay. And any names you want to mention as far as who you've got to work with, even if they're names we don't know, because these could be names we could be hearing, in a couple of years, maybe some up and comers.
Some of the girls are Taylor, Samantha, Carmen, some different girls from around the area that really come up and help me a lot.
Okay. And it's working for you because you like, competing and training close to home and having all that. You sort of have a system down, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great.
I like to stay pretty close.
Yes. No, of course. And obviously you have the responsibilities with the farm and everything too. Has there ever been a thought of going to one of those bigger camps and trying a training camp out there? Or is that something you would rather just stay at home and train?
I would rather stay around and train at home. I don't mind going away for a week or something and get it if I need work to be put in, but I really like being able to train here. Yeah.
And like you said, you have the responsibilities at home, so it's tough to leave, right? Like if you left, you'd probably have to have someone cover all your stuff on the farm, right?
Yes, I do for the week that I'm going already to fight, and I feel bad to do it.
Yeah, no, you don't like being away. This is one of the things we've talked about, is that you really it's so ingrained in your routine, and you love it so much too. Like a lot of people don't like getting up early, but you enjoy the work, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. I always ask the fighters how the weight cut's going, but I know you don't cut too much weight. How's everything going ahead of this fight?
Everything's been going good as far as that goes. I don't do a whole lot of work in that area.
Yeah, it's nice though, right? Because we get to see you fight at your true potential. You're not having to worry about cutting a lot of weight. Do you think that is a disadvantage to a lot of fighters having to cut so much weight?
I think it would be to me. I don't feel like I would feel comfortable having to drop an extremely large amount of weight.
Yeah, especially because you're known sort of for your strength, right? So I'd imagine if you're cutting that much weight, you would lose some of that, right?
I would assume. I fought at 5 before and 10 and cut more weight to do that, and I still felt okay, but I don't think I would want to cut still.
Yeah, it's not fun anyways. You got to cut out all the good food, right, that you get to eat, which is great. Do you think if this is kind of a hypothetical question, but you think if the UFC had an atomweight division, that would be kind of the ideal weight class for you, or do you like competing at strawweight?
I like competing at strawweight. If I fought at 5, I would probably have to make a decent cut. I mean, like actually cut some weight. So I would have to have more notice, but 15 I can fight quicker and stuff if I need be.
Yeah, and that's why you're getting 4 fights this year because, I'm sure there's other women who they can't get that short notice when it comes to that. I know this fight isn't short notice, but I'm saying like the Agapova fight, for example, that's one where you were able to take it because you were right on weight there.
I didn't have to do anything for that.
Yeah, no, exactly. They called you, they're like, yeah, we're ready to go. I'm like, yeah. Were you even, I can't even remember how much you weighed. Were you under or were you actually at the 125 limit?
I think I was 24 or something.
Yeah, because I remember it wasn't exactly. It was a little bit lower. Yeah, which is crazy to think. What did you? By the way, now that I mentioned her, did you watch her fight on the weekend? Agapova lose to Shauna Dobson. I don't know if you knew this, but that was the biggest upset in UFC history from an odds perspective. A lot of people were betting on Agapova in that fight, and Shauna Dobson, credit to her, went out there and got the win.
Yes, I watched it. I thought Dobson did a good job. Yeah.
No, it was a great fight. And Dobson also a little bit of a connection to this fight that her teammate is Mallory Martin. I'm sure you knew that too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there you go. You're studying up on your opponents. That's good. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
My coach is Joel Garcia and Thiago Silva.
Nice. Okay. And how do you see the fight playing out? You're always a tough outing for anyone. And I think especially if this fight stays standing, it's going to get very interesting. How do you think the fight unfolds on Saturday?
I don't like predictions and say one way or the other, but I think maybe a second round finish.
Nice, I like that. That's good. Yeah, you feel pretty confident. And again, it's an interesting matchup because you guys are similar in size. I think she has a little bit of a height and reach advantage in this one, but that's sort of you're used to that anyways. You don't strike. I mean, you have such a great personality. I imagine mentally, going into a fight like this, a lot of women would be, feeling the pressure of their back against the wall. Do you I know for you, this is tougher than doing the actual fight in terms of the interview and stuff. How are you feeling going into this, coming off so many losses? Because I don't think it's, any secret that, if you get another loss here, it might be the end of, you in the UFC.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's a little more pressure on that perspective. So I've just been training a whole lot harder. It's really about the only way to go about it.
Right. Yeah. Try and make sure it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is that more training sessions? Is that tweaking things in training? What are you doing differently?
Some of both.
Okay.
More training sessions and then a lot harder training sessions too.
Right. Yeah. Upping the intensity. No, understandable for sure. And you're still getting all your duties done on the farm, right? What time are you up this morning?
I think about 6.
Oh, you're up at 6. I was up earlier than you. There you go. So, but no, obviously you got to get everything done.
In a little bit.
Yeah. What's a sleep-in for you? Is it 6 a.m. a sleep-in for you?
6:30.
Yeah, there you go. But every morning though, it's consistent. You don't get days to sleep until 8 o'clock, right?
Oh no.
It's unheard of.
Don't do that.
How is your family doing, and how's everyone doing on the farm? Anyways, with like I said, we've heard of a lot of farms and crops and everyone impacted by this COVID stuff. Have you guys been impacted too much by it?
Everything's been pretty normal here on the farm, and our family's doing good.
That's great. And because you've had more notice for this fight, are you feeling the support of your family and friends heading into this one? Because now there's they can actually get excited and get prepared for it as opposed to last time when it was so short. Yes,
I'm getting a lot of support from all my friends and family.
Yeah. What's that like though? Because we talked about this before where it's you don't come from a big city. It's, you're kind of representing them when you go into the cage. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it's a little more weight, but it's also good for motivation too.
Do you feel like a little bit of a celebrity? Do you like that?
Yes. I don't like it.
I was going to say, yeah, no, that's fair enough. What else have you been up to in terms of, downtime? Because I know you don't get much of it, right? It's like you're either training, you're either eating, sleeping, or you're on the farm. Do you do anything else? I did hear you were shooting some guns the other day, right?
Yes, I like to do that occasionally. I have a little bit of time.
Is it a good stress reliever for you?
Yeah, it's fun too.
Okay.
I enjoy it.
And that's just shooting at targets, or do you do any hunting as well?
We're just shooting targets, but hunting season here comes in next month. So
Are you getting excited for hunting being back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you have any trips planned, or you'll just figure it out after the fight?
I'm probably gonna figure it out after the fight.
Yeah, because you got to work with your fight schedule, right, to make sure it's all going to line up in case they want you again, right? In case you get another short notice fight, you don't want to be in the woods while you're hunting, I would assume, right?
No, probably not.
No, got to keep it going. What's the? I think I've asked you this before, but I'll ask you again. What's the best thing you've hunted? What was what's the biggest accomplishment you've done in hunting as far as like hunting certain animals?
I mostly hunt just white-tailed deer, but I would like to hunt some like larger game. We just don't have it where I live.
Is there anywhere you'd like to go hunt that's kind of on your bucket list, so to speak? Somewhere you'd like to go try that out?
A lot of the Midwest states have a lot of stuff I would like.
Yeah.
And I would also fancy a trip to like maybe Texas where they have like alligators and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. See if the UFC can hook you up with some camo gear for hunting, right? Because they did that with Bryce Mitchell. I think he was going to get his camo shorts. Did you hear about that?
I had not.
Oh, you got to talk to him, but I'm sure, people have seen that, which is really cool. Well, anyways, Hannah, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview. I know you got it. You're probably leaving here soon to go to Vegas and do all that and the COVID test and stuff. So I really appreciate the time. If you just want to thank anyone, if you have any sponsors you want to mention or any social media you want to plug, anything like that, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to my team at Embrace Martial Arts for helping get me ready. My conditioning coach at the Performance Lab in Wake Forest, and my management at LCA Sports Management.